Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Today, we're going to learn a little bit more about being a little less selfish and being a little more elfish. And if there's a little interruption, it's probably because a reindeer is running in front of the satellite connection. We're going to learn about Santa's message of love today. Sit back and relax and wake up the giant within. Here we go. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Ryan Morris. And I'm here with some other wonderful guests. I forgot we have to keep this one PG.
It's got to be rated for all audiences.
Yes. If you haven't taken the Giants quiz, go do that. Giantsandsmalls.com. Take the Giants quiz. And I'm Ryan Morris, co-creator of Wake Up with Giants TV, 12 Journeys Coaching, and A Tribe of Giants on Facebook. And I'm here with Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls, co-creator of Wake Up with Giants TV, A Tribe of Giants, 12 Journeys Coaching, and all things awesome. Nicholas T. Smith. That's him.
Thank you. Yeah.
Quite an intro. Yeah, well, we've got an even better intro for a guy from the North Pole.
Well, do you really need any introduction at all? I mean,
of course. At this point,
you don't know who this guy is, then you've been super naughty.
That's right. You were deprived as a child if you don't know who this guy is. You can talk to your parents because that wasn't fair.
Yeah.
That wasn't fair.
Nick, will you introduce our guest this morning?
I'd love to. So we've got a very special episode of Wake Up with Giants TV where we're thrilled to have a guest who embodies the spirit of the season and so much more, Santa himself. So today's episode is not just a festive treat, but a deep dive into the profound messages of Through Santa's Eyes, this amazing book right here. This book is far from your typical holiday fare. It's a transformative journey that challenges us to shift from a me-focused mindset to a we-centered way of living. Through Santa's Eyes is a heartfelt reminder to embrace an elfish lifestyle, one that prioritizes community, love, and selflessness. It's a narrative that weaves together touching stories, each a powerful testament to the strength found in unity and love. So as you explore this 144-page journey, you're invited to see the world from a unique perspective, experiencing the true magic of giving and the joy of togetherness. This book isn't just a seasonal read. It's a year-round call to action to live with love and make a difference in our world. So let's embark on this transformative journey together. This is a show where we uncover the secrets of living a giant life. And today, let's learn to see the world through Santa's eyes. Welcome to the show, Santa.
You know, it's my absolute pleasure to be here. We're working our little elf fingers to the bones. So just the opportunity to take a little break on a Sunday morning. Oh, I'll tell you. Who's out there ordering all these Barbies? I was just in South Korea picking up Barbie parts yesterday. Nick. Loaded down the sleigh. I think it was, Nick. I mean, how old were you when you got your first Barbie, Nick?
I was probably 7.
and you got
not a lie. I think that's true.
You know, life-size Barbie. You got the brunette version recently. Congratulations.
I did. Yeah, very lucky man. Those reindeer.
I know those reindeer fly in front of the satellite dish up here at the North Pole. Darn Canadian Starlink.
Canadian Starlink. Are those geese?
Something.
Here we go. Let's dive in because you got an incredible journey, Santa. I would imagine that you weren't always Santa. And so reflecting on your journey, and I read in the first part of your book, and I love this. When did you realize the joy of giving over receiving as emphasized in this book?
Well, I think all my whole life I was a giver. And to be honest with you, it wasn't until later in life I learned that absolutely giving and receiving actually go hand in hand. It's a cycle. And so for someone to give, someone also has to receive. But it just seems that Christmas has turned into this very selfish me movement, right? So a few years ago, it was in 1999 when I got the call from the big guy himself, the North Pole. He said to me, it's all about iPhones, iPad, I this, I that. When did it always come about I? What about we and us? And so, frankly, that's my mission, is for us to ditch the me for we. And that's what Through Santa's Eyes is all about. It's truly a worldwide movement to be less selfish, be more elfish. So I've always tried to be a giver, but it's my clarion call now. It's my rallying battle cry for the whole world to start thinking about others first. Because imagine the world we would live in, Ryan and Nick, if we lived the spirit of Christmas all year long. If it wasn't just something that we trot out and we're extra nice and we're a little more patient and we're a little more giving to others, but it was really a value system. It's a way we lived every day of the year. We could change the world. We really could. This whole simple be less selfish, be more elfish message can change the world.
So do
It's a
you
better message than less or more meanness and less weeness? Like
Yes.
this selfish and elfish.
I'm not
It's
sure
probably a little bit
exactly if that's
Yeah.
Yiddish or what language you're speaking. I speak all the languages of Santa, right? So over in the islands, it's Mele Kalikimaka.
Huh.
Over in Japan, Merry Korisimasu. Right? Over in Ireland, it's Happy Christmas. And if some of you watching are from Kearns, it's just, yo, what's up?
I like Santa's version of the we versus me, but the we-ness versus me-ness is another level of that.
Something. I wish we had subtitles so I could
less meanness and
the show.
Yeah,
more weeness, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
that
more
didn't make the
weeness,
cut
less
on the book.
weeness.
Yeah, you gotta love the weeness.
Yeah,
right. Now we're way off track, so that's funny, man. So the idea of waking up to the collective, right, the community, to be more we than me, to be less individualistic. How did you wake up to that? Where did that come from?
I think that was a series of experiences. So let me take you back to 1999 when I got the call to be Santa. Now, this was the furthest thing from my mind, but I've had 3 distinct Field of Dreams moments in my life. And in that winter of 1999, when I felt impressed and prompted to don the sacred red suit, it was actually quite overwhelming, because just putting on the suit does not make one Santa. In fact, we learn later in the book that we can all be Santa, and it doesn't require a red suit to be Santa, because it's a state of mind, it's a heart, like we talked about. But when I got that call in 1999 to be Santa Claus, I literally had to go through a transformation to realize that it's more than just wearing a suit, that I needed to prepare myself to be in a place to give love in such a way that it touched hearts around the world. And I was able to capitalize those stories in the new book. And it's just been an amazing journey over the last 24 years.
Well, I think you captured as well the idea that grief and sadness and loss can actually lead to a deeper love of life. Because when you started this book, you went into your personal journey. And can you share a little bit around that? Coming home and it was it Lisa? Is that your ex-wife's name? Is that right?
So life is
home.
what happens to us, right? It's how we
Yeah.
choose to react and respond to what happens to us. And in today's world, everybody's a victim, right? Oh, woe is me. Look, we've all been through difficult, dark nights of the soul, but it's what we do with it. So it was November of 1999, and to be very candid, I was elfish. And my wife decided it was in her best interest and our children's for her to leave. And so she left me and took our 5-year-old daughter and our 1-year-old son with her. And talk about a wake-up call. So here we are waking up with giants, and I was faced with a decision. So do I do better, or do I say woe is me? And obviously I made the decision to, hey, accept the wake-up call and change and not be selfish. So that's where that whole message comes from, because I realized I was being selfish. And I took my eye off the ball. Nothing, no major sins or something, but just, neglect or just being selfish. And so Lisa chose to disengage. And so it was one of my very first Saturdays that I had the kids, because, the whole thought of being a dad that takes their kids to Denny's on Thanksgiving was a little disheartening. And that's not what I wanted, because in the story, I take you back to when I'm a little kid. And I grew up in a family that put fun in dysfunctional, and the love and the acceptance that I gained in the Hawes family, that's what I always wanted for my family. So when all of a sudden I had everything, but in one night it was all gone, that's when I got the call to be Santa. Now I had a choice. I could either hide it from my 5 and 1 year old, or make them just a part of it and do it overtly and have them engaged in it. And so the book starts out with me as a kid, and then it just defines why it's so important for me to have a happy family. And then we jump into the experience where Megan goes into the bedroom one Saturday morning when we're making cookies, and I hear this yelp from the other side of the house, and she comes bounding down the hall, and she's just like, Daddy, you got to come to your room. You got to come. And so I scoop up Ben, and we go down to the hall, and she turns the corner, and we go into the bedroom, and she's pointing to it. She's like, Daddy, look, Santa's been here. Now imagine the scene. So there's the big king bed, and there's all of Santa's gear strewn all over the bed, and the boots are there on the floor, and the bag and the hat and the coat and the trousers. And there was a note. And so Megan goes over, and you can read more about it in the book, but she opens up the letter from Santa. And I said, now, why in the world would Santa be writing us a letter? I mean, we write Santa letters. He doesn't write us letters, and it's not even Thanksgiving. Why are we getting a letter from Santa? And she's like, Daddy, it's not to you. It's to Ben and I. And so in the letter, Santa basically says to Megan, hey, Megan, there's more kids than ever before on the earth, and I'm getting older, and I need to call some special helpers to help me at Christmas time. So I'm calling your daddy to be one of my special helpers. And so when he's not with you on the weekends, he'll be with me at the North Pole and might even actually help on Christmas Eve. Is it okay if your daddy is one of my special helpers? And that's how I get the call. And that's exactly how it played out, so that my kids were part of this journey. And then they go into the room, they write a letter back to Santa. And then in chapter 2 of the book, it's a little fictitious in that Santa didn't write me a letter at that time. But in the book, I'm writing a letter today in 2023 to the Santa of 1999, because I've learned a few things in 24 years of this, and hundreds of performances over the years. So I share with the rookie Santa a lot of information, a lot of coaching, and a lot of counsel of how to become Santa. And then the rest of the book is actual miracles and wondrous experiences that I witness through my eyes. And I have to tell you, gentlemen, it is the most amazing experience to catch the gaze of someone who's looking at you with so much belief and so much wonder and so much faith and so much hope. There's this divine connection that actually takes place, because you see, it's not about me, the guy in the suit. It's about the character that they have this faith and hope and belief with. And that is absolutely magical. So I take you through a series of experiences, from heartbreaking experiences like I talked about in the beginning, to the most heartwarming, amazing miracles that will truly touch your heart. I'll take you on a roller coaster of emotion. So make sure you stop at Costco and get a whole case of Kleenex before you read the book.
And a whole case of books before you get the Kleenex, right?
That's true.
You got to do that.
Yeah, the perfect gift for everybody on your list.
I notice on this and the imagery, I don't know if you can see it through the camera, but in the glasses, you've got 2 images in there. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
visible?
Megan and Ben when they were that
Yeah.
age. And then if you flip open to the dedication page, you actually see that same picture of when they were 5 and 1.5, and
Right.
then the whole picture on the cover makes sense.
Yeah, that's cool. So the whole book is written through Santa's eyes, right? And so there was a shifting of your life back in 1999 from one way of being, really kind of a desperate situation, right?
Could have been.
Having an
Could have been.
experience could have been. Okay, yes, I love that view. And you had this experience with this family that showed you deep love that wasn't available necessary in your family, but you got an experience of that and you wanted to spread that through the world. And you had this acknowledgement of your life back in 1999 that this is where you're at. This is what I have in front of me. What am I going to do with it? And to me, that becomes a journey of acceptance, just acknowledging your life as it is. You're not resigning to it. You're not being the victim of your life, but you're recognizing and waking up to this is what I've created through my selfishness.
And
And
and I think what's interesting, Nicholas, we hear it a lot today, and
yeah,
I can't think of anybody to be on with better than Nicholas, because this character, we need to study good old Saint Nick a little bit and what history this character actually is,
yeah,
and the
let's do that.
truly elfish person that Saint Nick was. I mean, we've gotten commercialized, and Santa just shows up on Christmas Eve and everything, but this character is so much more than just a guy who delivers presents, and that's what we're trying to embody in Through Santa's Eyes. But you're right, it's just such a heartwarming story. So I have a friend who's written a couple of Christmas books, Richard Paul Evans, and we were talking about this book, the idea for this book, back at the end of summer, first of fall. And frankly, he said, love the idea, but you need to go back and help us understand why having a loving family is so important. So that's why there's the chapter, the backstory of me growing up as a kid and finding love in the Haas home. And that's something that I always wanted. But let me talk about a gift that was given to me. And sometimes you write a book and then you don't realize how many layers are actually to the story. And so someone read the book and they said, you know what? What if every family just did for their family what the Haas family did for you when you were 9 years old? So let me just set the scene. It's my birthday. Connie Haas, who's like a second mom to me, she invited me up to dinner on my birthday. And the Haas family always had family night on Sunday. So they had dinner together and then they would sing and all those things that they would do for family night. So when I showed up for dinner, they put me at the head of the table where Ralph usually sat, the dad. But this particular day, here's the head of the table with a plate that says, you are someone special. You are loved. And in that moment, I just felt so much love and acceptance because I always felt safe there. And that was a special experience. I don't remember what we ate, but I remember the feeling that I had. And then after that, when we went into the living room, Ralph pulled over a chair at the end of family night and put it in the middle of the room. And he had me sit in the middle of the room. And then the Haas family had 7 kids, plus mom and dad. So they went around the room and each one told me why they loved me. And it was like a foreign language. In fact, I was a little embarrassed because I had never felt that way before in my life. So much pure love and unconditional acceptance, but they were vocalizing why I was loved. And that's what set me out on a path throughout my life. I wanted people to feel that same love. And so everything I've ever done in entertainment or sports or announcing or corporate training, in my own way, has tried to help people feel like they are enough and they belong. And so Through Santa's Eyes is an extension of that to help us all realize that we are part of a greater community and we all need to work together because love is the answer. It really is. Love is the answer. It doesn't get more simple than that. We get caught up in so many other agendas, but it's our ability to love others and then also be the kind of person that people also can love. So we need to learn how to love as well as to be lovable. And that's what Through Santa's Eyes is all about.
That's beautiful. You know, the idea of unity, the community, right? To have something in common with others is a beautiful message. You know, looking at the 12 journeys, when we teach, we always teach from the framework of the 12 journeys. And I can see the entire journey through what you're talking about. Love is foundational to everything. And, you know, as you look at the impact that you're trying to make in the world, when you talk about being more elfish, is that a description of the love that you're talking about? Is there more to that? Can you speak about being more elfish?
Well, if you think about it, we at the North Pole are the happiest people on the planet. Why? Because 365 days a year, we're focused on giving, right? So if you think about the elf character at the North Pole, it's one who is working to serve others, who's doing it out of love, not for love. I think a lot of people in today's world do things for love instead of just from love. Big difference. But when I say being elfish, that just means the opposite of being selfish. Instead of being self-centered, you're other people centric. Now, it's important to take care of you. You know, you got to have self-care. You're important. When the plane's going down, put on your own mask first, all that. That's important. But I think as a society, we're so focused on likes and TikTok views and everything that we've lost sight of actually serving. So there's a bunch of research that shows the average 25-year-old in America today has one desire, and that's just to be famous. And they don't know what to be famous for. They just want to be famous, and they want to be in the spotlight and the limelight. Really, our joy, our satisfaction, our fulfillment comes when we give of ourselves. So elfish means, as we define it in the book, it's not something that you can have delivered by Amazon Prime. It's not something you can buy in a store. It's something that you give from the heart. You know, a bell's not a bell until you ring it. A song's not a song until you sing it. Love wasn't put in your heart to stay. Love isn't love until you give it away. So what makes me different as Santa, because all respect to my friends that are mall Santas that have kids line up and tell them what they want for Christmas for hours. I don't do that.
Smell like beef and cheese.
Beef and cheese. So what makes me
Santa.
different, and I tell the kids, is how you know the real Santa. I already know what you want for Christmas. I mean, Ryan, you sent your list back in February of this year already. I know what you want for Christmas.
You're
so
welcome.
my challenge,
turning my taxes early too.
Yes, what I would suggest to people when I say about being elfish, I say to kids of all ages, it's not about what you can get for Christmas. It's what you're going to give for Christmas. So when I visit with children, I actually ask, what are you going to give for Christmas? And over the last 24 years, I've seen the most amazing stories of families who have taken that to heart. And instead of buying each other presents, they take the money that they otherwise would have spent on presents. And there's a story in the book called Quiet Giving. And this family is one of my favorite families. And they do this every year. When I show up, I actually just get a series of cards. So let's say that you were in the family, and I would say, Nicholas, come on up here. And what you gave for Christmas is you gave 9 piglets to a village in Kenya. Ryan, you gave 10 children in Costa Rica an education for a year. And imagine the world we would live in if we spend a little less. Now, this is not sponsored by Walmart or Target. They do not like this message, because what I'm saying is give on behalf of someone else. That's the greatest present that you can give. And there's a lot of websites on the internet where you can find great causes, CAUSES, great causes that you can donate money and help people on behalf of somebody else. And I'll tell you, that's the greatest gift that you can give. But it's service, and we've lost sight of that. So this is a subtle reminder. Like you already said, Nick, this is not a 400-page read. It's a quick hour-and-a-half read to remind us that love is the answer and that all of us can find opportunities to serve one another. And then some of the other stories talk about how others serve those who are less fortunate or those that are in need. We go through a series of stories that I share through Santa's eyes of just different scenarios of how people demonstrate love and the lessons we can learn from that.
Now, you wrote this in a way that really takes people to peaks and valleys with their emotions. It's heart stirring, right? It's something that you'll feel deep sadness and deep joy. It's something that you get every spectrum of the holiday spirit. Somebody just mentioned, this is a hard time of year for me. And it can be a hard time of life, period. Whether it's this time of year or any time of year, life can be fairly challenging. And this book takes you through journeys of despair and hope, right? Can you speak about why you did that? Why did you write it that way?
It's real life. Everyday life is not yet another Hallmark movie during Christmas. Can we all find a new script? It seems like every Hallmark movie is exactly the same script, just to hire different actors and actresses. Look, Christmas is real life, and life has tragedy. There's a tragedy in the story. I'll be candid, not a spoiler alert, but a little 6-year-old boy, Jacob, passes away in the story. But it's a deep story that really illustrates the importance of family love. And there's a family that adopts 3 children in the book. There's a family who has absolutely nothing. And I have the opportunity, when I actually went into this home at 2:00 in the morning on Christmas morning, and realized they had nothing. And had I not been bringing all of these gifts that the neighbors had put together to take to this family would have had nothing. So yes, it's a very difficult time of year, but it's difficult because we're selfish. And if we really looked around at all the opportunities to be elfish, there's plenty to go around. There's plenty if we just thought of others first.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on 2 of our journeys, which are gratitude and abundance. There is plenty around. And when you really slow down in gratitude, I think it was Eckhart Tolle who said that gratitude is the foundation of all abundance.
Absolutely. It's that attitude of gratitude, right? That which we give thanks for, the more we'll have to give thanks for. And how in the world do we ask for more when we're not even good stewards over that which we already have? So we have to wake up every day, as well as put our head on the pillow at night, with an attitude of gratitude, because that's the only way we'll be good stewards over that which is given to us.
Yeah. Now,
and then it does grow.
Is that vital
for about? Mind if I
go ahead,
say something real quick? Something interesting about the like meanness and selfishness, and I was gonna say weeness again, but like when you have that attitude of gratitude, it takes your eye off yourself, right? Like you're talking about. If you're feeling despair, this is Hugh just said, can we understand joy without experiencing despair? And I think you can. Of course you can. But I think that too, if you're feeling despair, or if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling heavy in your emotions, one of the best ways, and this is it's a little bit selfish, but it works, is that you take your eye off yourself and have gratitude. Look around you. We talk about this in the 12 journeys all the time as well, is that go look at the abundance around you. Have gratitude for it. It starts to move you out of those heavy emotions, and you start seeing things differently. You start seeing things through Santa's eyes. It's that it's that, and then you like from that point it really is kind of a selfish thing, but you're not really being selfish. You're taking your eye off yourself, but you're getting so much from doing that.
So many times when we give, we think the beneficiary is the person that we gave to. Yes, and that's why we do it. That's where the pure motive comes from. But we are the beneficiary of service because it releases endorphins and dopamine in us as the giver. So being a giver actually has therapeutic value. So if we got to remember this, the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative. And we literally are the director to decide what's on the stage in our mind. We're either in despair, focused on what we don't have compared to others, especially in today's world, or it's a place of gratitude. So if our mind can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative, what's it filled with? Is it filled with gratitude? I would suggest that the 50 to 100,000 thoughts that we have every day, 90% of those are negative. Now think about this for a minute. If you talk to others the way you talk to yourself, that would be abuse. You talk about bullying in the world today. You're your biggest bully. Think about your self-talk and what you tell yourself. And especially with Facebook, we're always comparing ourselves to the Joneses or the Smiths down the street. They got a new boat. Oh my gosh, look, they're such a beautiful family with their new family photos up in the mountains. And oh, they're on this beautiful vacation. They've got the perfect life. Okay, it's not true. You just saw one snapshot in time when they were happy, but they have their trials and tribulations too. So we compare and contrast ourselves with others when really we just need to realize that we either have, I'll pause while the reindeer get away from the satellite again. We're either focused on what we are grateful for, and that will grow. And see, if we can only hold one conscious thought at a time, if it's woe is me, I'm a victim, I don't have enough, then that grows, right? The law of concentration says whatever you believe with feeling is your own reality, and it grows. So if I focus on the lack of and everything that's wrong with my life, I actually create more of that. But if I'm focused on gratitude and abundance, I actually attract more of that into my life. And the only way to do that is through service. Because I cannot hold despair and depression in my heart and my mind if I am focused on love and service. It is absolutely impossible to hold those two different emotions at the same time. You cannot do it.
I
So
think
what are
of
your thoughts and what are you feeling? And you're in conscious control of that.
I think of two words here: hateful and grateful. And the root of hateful is actually grief, calamity, sadness. It actually goes further back. So when people feel hate or anger, a lot of times that stems from grief and a sadness about what is not. And so when we focus in on what is not, we tend to see more of what is not. So we have this hateful view of life. And when you slow down and you have a gratitude for life, it allows you to see the abundance that already surrounds you, the good that's already there. And especially when you're serving others, like what you just shared. Like when you can serve others, it really takes you out of your own inner world. So you become less hateful and you become more grateful. I like these plays on words because like the weeness, like now every time somebody looks at their elbow, they're going to think of Santa Claus, right? Of being more weeful. I don't know. I think
that's what that is.
yeah, we
New language here in the land of the giants.
right. But I think it's beautiful to distinguish that out of those thoughts that you have, quite a few every minute, right? 400 or so thoughts a minute, positive or negative, hateful or grateful, right? And it's all up to you which one you're going to hold on to, right? It's a lot of thoughts a minute. And at any point you could shift it over from hateful to grateful and really start seeing the abundance of the world that's already there. It never moved. It never left.
Nothing changed but your perspective.
Yeah.
So if all of life is a stage, you're the main actor on that stage. Is it a comedy? Is it a tragedy? What is it? But you cannot hold depression and gratitude in your heart, in your mind simultaneously. It's impossible. So if you're down in the dumps and then you get out and you serve, you realize that people have it a lot worse than you do. I've traveled the world, literally and figuratively, right? On Christmas Eve, I see the whole world in an instant. But in my personal life, I've been around the world, and I've seen people from the most remote. I used to say corners of the earth, but then that makes it think I'm a flat earther. So around the globe, I've seen people from every walk of life, and some of the happiest people that I've ever met have absolutely nothing. They eat the same meal of rice and beans and live in grass huts and have absolutely nothing as compared to you and I. But you know what? They have everything because they're happy. They honestly are happy people. And you don't have to do much for them to have them express their gratitude, they're just happy. They really are happy because they don't know what they don't have. So there's not jealousy and all of those other negative emotions, but they're truly happy because they have their family and they have love. Therefore, they have everything. And I think the prize that we're trying to find always eludes us because all those things that we try to put in our house that qualify us to be on the TV show Hoarders never does bring happiness.
Yeah, that elfishness, I mean, it can really change your life. I mean, if you become more elfish, you might start having visions of greater things for life. You might
It's
want to do good in the
contagious
world,
too.
right? It's contagious. Yeah,
It's
tell us about that.
contagious. Well, I believe it can be a movement. So the simple be less selfish, be more elfish message, I believe, can change the world. Imagine the world we would live in today if we were just all a little more elfish, even just 1% more elfish on the planet. It would resonate with a higher degree of love and caring for one another. It would change the world. And so
Cause
I'm not
I
just
hear
calling
like
in and
I hear
thinking we
like
think we can
similar
do that.
messages. Sorry to interrupt you, but I hear similar messages with like, like there's two great commandments, right? Love yourself, love your neighbor as yourself, right? I mean, you gotta love, and then also, Blockbuster is be kind, rewind. Like I hear this like morphing message. That's an old message from Blockbuster. I like your message way better.
It's just simple, and we've made it simple. You can go to throughsantaseyes.com, go to the bottom, and you can request your own Be More Elfish bracelet. And I think we can make a difference with each other if we're just more elfish. It's so simple, but as you're starting to discover, there's so many layers behind what it means to be elfish. And so that's why I challenge everyone, not just for Christmas, but every day of the year, to be less selfish, be more elfish, give of yourself, not things that you can buy in a store or have Amazon Prime drivers deliver, but things that you give from your heart. Because the last time I checked, there are no U-Hauls behind any hearse, so you're not taking any of that crap with you. It really is the memories and experiences that we share. And how many of us give stuff that ends up in the room, in a room somewhere, or thrown away, or underneath, boxes in the garage? It should be about the experiences that we share. I think of my own experiences that I cherish, and they're just time spent with families and friends where we lived and loved and laughed together. We need more of that in our world, and we'll have a lot less war.
I want to go back to the vision because you started to imagine with us the vision of the world with a different resonance, a different frequency. And you've spoken about that frequency a little bit now offline, not here today, but there's a certain number that you talk about. And can you speak to that a little bit about this vision, not only the vision that you have, but beyond the vision, this frequency? Can you share about that?
Sure. So in the book, Santa gives me two things when he gives me the call. He writes me a pretty profound letter that kicks my keister. He gives me coaching and counsel. Again, it's me 24 years later looking back and trying to give coaching to that rookie Santa. But as a symbol, he also gives me a tuning fork. And the tuning fork that I receive has the numbers 5 to 8 down here on the stem of the tuning fork. And the lesson I have to learn in Through Santa's Eyes is, what is that frequency? Because Santa accuses me of not being in tune with the same frequency of the tuning fork. And so when I get the tuning fork and it says 528, that seems very strange. I have no idea what that is. So in the book, I discover 528 it's a true concept. It is the frequency of love. And so all my experiences that I have through Santa's eyes, where I literally witness miracles, are because those people are on the frequency of love. And that's the great thing about this frequency, the vibration, so to speak, right? If I'm listening to 107.9 FM, I cannot tune into 97.1 FM. It's a different frequency. We are the same as individuals. If we're in a hateful vibration or a hateful frequency, I can't give or accept love. It's impossible. And so that's part of the message too. I introduce it enough so that people will go investigate what it means to vibrate and be on a frequency of love. And you could go down that rabbit hole, and we did in a previous episode of Giants TV. But it's worth exploring to know that the opportunities and circumstances and goodness in your life aren't all about what you do and say, but who you are. So we have to change as people. We have to raise our frequency and become better people if we want greater blessings. We can't just sit back and be a victim, because we'll actually just attract more of that nonsense and chaos in our life. It's when we level up, we raise our vibration, we become better people, that we literally bring better people, opportunities, and circumstances into our life. It's the way the universe was created. And it's the universal message I share.
I've got to go Dr. Seuss on this a little bit. You've got to investigate in order to vibrate, and that'll eliminate hate, right? And we all elevate. So I think that's there's these plays on words that as Santa you can just totally get away with, that just really serve, and help people to raise their vibration, because a lot of times you have these visions of things that you want to accomplish, but you really don't know how you're going to do it. And you've got a clear path on how you're going to change the world through this book to be more elfish. If we can be less selfish, be more elfish, that's one pathway. But there are a lot of pathways that branch from that. Even there are a lot of ways that people can really step into what we call their giantness or their Santa-ness, see the world through Santa's eyes and elevate their world. And that being less elfish or being more elfish allows them to go down whatever pathway would serve that elevating view of the world, the seeing the world through Santa's eyes. Hopefully that made some sense there.
Well, absolutely, because see, Santa doesn't judge.
Uh-huh.
Santa just loves unconditionally. And so when we talk about seeing the world through Santa's eyes, it really is changing your perspective of the way you see the world, because we find what we're looking for. And when you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you will find what you're looking for. So if you're always looking for what's wrong with the world, and you're watching CNN and Fox News and MSNBC all day, every day, that's the world you will find. But if you are out there loving and serving and giving and being elfish, it's a completely different world. And you're never going to find that, because in my other life, I spent my career in media. If it bleeds, it leads. And somehow we think that that's just the way the world is. No, that's to get clicks. That's to get advertisers to pay for those eyeballs. That doesn't have to be your real world if you choose. So change your programming of what you're seeing, and that is to change your perspective, focus on others, be willing to give of yourself and sacrifice and make good things happen.
Can we talk about your legacy, the gift you're giving to the world? And what is your grandest vision and your legacy, the gift you'd like to leave when you're no longer here? What would you like to see?
I would like to know that the world is a little more elfish. And again, that's a very simplistic term I'm putting onto it, but it's a very heavy concept. As Ryan already talked about, it is the great commandment. And it is Sunday, so we can go there a little bit. Santa Claus doesn't take away from the real meaning of Christmas. In fact, Santa Claus can lead you to the message that he is Christmas, that he is the reason for the season. But Santa is a bridge between the secular of what the world will accept and really the divine law. And so if you think about it, be more elfish could be more Christ-like. It could take on an extended view. So I'm trying to simplify it down to the lowest common denominator that even a 2-year-old can understand, to be more elfish. And I believe that we need this more than ever before, that it's a message that transcends countries, communities, and families. So let me ask you a question. that you can ask yourself. And that is this. What kind of country would America be if everyone in it were just like me? No, not me, you. What kind of state would my state be if everyone in it were just like me? What kind of city would my city be if everyone in it were just like me? What kind of family would my family be if everyone in it were just like you? Now, is that a pretty daunting question with not a whole lot of hope? Or is that a call for us to become better people? Because it's easy for us to look to Washington, D.C. to solve all of our social ills, when really the place we need to make a difference is right within the four corners of our own homes. Benjamin Disraeli, the Prime Minister of England, said some years ago that no success in life can compensate for failure in the home, that the greatest work we will ever do are within the corners of our own home. We've lost sight of that. We go on social media, we have an opinion for everything, that everybody needs to change and do things different, when really it starts with us. Now, that's not being selfish to do that. That's actually being elfish when you take care of yourself with self-care and personal responsibility, because you have so much more to give. If you're just trying to get through everyday life and you can't take care of yourself, how can you bless the lives of others? So you got to get your own stuff together and get your life in order so that then you can give others what you have. I can't give you a $100 bill if I don't have one. I can't give you love, acceptance, and understanding and compassion and love if I don't have it first for myself. So that's not selfish to focus on that. That means you're just taking care of yourself, that you have so much more to give away when you're elfish. And let's admit it. Many of these causes require resources, money, material goods to be elfish. And a place of abundance that you can give, then you'll be quietly forgotten. I mean, what's going to be said of us 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago? Did we really make a difference? Can I tell you a little story? One of my favorite stories here at the North Pole that I tell the elves all the time. It's called the King's Highway. You see, way back when, in ancient times, there was a king who had a highway built for the members of his kingdom. After it was completed, but before it was open, he decided to have a great contest. And the contest was to see who could travel the highway best. Well, on the day of the contest, the entire kingdom showed up. Some women brought fine food. They had new hairdos. Some young men even showed up in track clothes and ran along the new highway. Once they got to the end of the highway, they went over to the king and they said, King, we love your highway, great use of tax dollars, but no, great highway. We love your new highway. But the problem is, you see, there's this pile of rocks and debris that held everyone back. You get rid of the rocks and debris and the big pile of stuff in the road. Great highway, king. Well, this happened all day long. Everybody traveled down the road, complained about the rocks and debris in the middle of the highway. Well, as the sun was setting, the last lone traveler completed his journey along the King's Highway, tired, dirty, wearily, but with great respect. The old man went over to the king and he said, King, I was traveling down your highway today, and I noticed a pile of rocks and debris, and it held everybody back. And so I stopped to clear it out of the way. And underneath it all, I found this bag of gold, and I want you to return it to its rightful owner. And the king looked at the old man and said, It is yours. And the old man said, But I've never known such wealth. And the king said, It is yours, for you won my prize, because he or she who makes the road easier for those who follow is the one who wins the prize. He or she who makes the road easier for those wins the prize. So what will be said of us 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now? Will we be quickly forgotten because of all of our selfish acts? Or will we leave a legacy because we made the road easier for those who followed us in a unique way that we can? I believe that God gave you specific gifts and talents that he's leased to you during your life, and it's your awesome responsibility to tap into those, give of yourself, to be elfish, to make the world a better place, to make the road easier for those who will follow you. And if we all do that, we'll truly live in a world worth living in.
I like that. That's a great segue into just the final piece of this, is the invitation to be a part of this movement, right? To not just reserve a spot for this book on your bookshelf, but to make it a cornerstone in your home.
Shelf,
yeah,
right?
It's not going to do good there, right?
No, sleeping in a garage doesn't make you a Ford. And going to church doesn't make you spiritual. It's a great Nike. It's a great prophet to just do it. So you can't just sleep on this and have it make a difference. Read it, right?
Read it.
Give it. Share it.
Embrace it.
More importantly, live it.
Yes. Give it, share it, live it. Because it's not just another book. It's a catalyst for change. It's a guide to living love every day, right?
And so we talk about in the end of the book, when I go to hang up my gear that first year, Santa calls me and he says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm done for the year." And he says, "But you're not done with your calling." I said, "My calling?" And he said, "Yes, you will be known throughout the world as Santa Claus. And I give you authority to wear that suit and share this message every day that ends in Y. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So any day of the year, anywhere in the world." And so that's part of my mission now. And I have to tell you guys, because you know me personally, when I wrote the book, I thought I'd go do book signings and travel the world as me, just wearing a button down and a sweater or something. But then it was shown to me that it was not about that guy, that it's about this character sharing that message with the world. Now, it's a lot of work to get in this getup and to travel the world looking like this, because it's not about me. It's about thee. It's about the mission. It's about the cause, CAUSE. And this guy's just the ambassador of light to share that message. So if I have to do it dressed like this, I certainly will.
Yeah.
Well, it's good TV too.
It's good TV. And you talked about the book being a download. I think that's pretty common, is a lot of times these books, you know, The Giants and the Smalls was that way. It didn't take long to write it, but it took decades for you to build yourself up to be able to download it and to be able to share it with the world. And can you talk about that tuning in just a little bit before we wrap up here?
Well, I think that's important because it's out there, right? It's a frequency.
Yeah.
Like infinite knowledge is out there. It's in the ether, really. It is. Everything that's out there. We have the ability to just download from the universe if we're within that bandwidth and we're in that frequency to download it. And so people ask me, how long did it take to write the book, Santa Claus? And I said, well, it took 24 years to write, but it took 24 hours to dictate. So when I sat down, I literally, in a matter of a couple of sittings, just dictated what came not to me, but what came through me. And what you read there is how it was downloaded to me. And I simply just transcribed what I dictated, what was dictated to me, rather.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And that's how we know we're in flow. And that's how we know that we've surrendered. And that's a big part of this as well, is, you know, I always thought surrender meant to wave the white flag and I give up or I give in. Surrender just means that you open yourself up to flow and what's possible. And when I did this, it just, like I said, it came through me. I transcribed it. We got it printed, and now we'll get 100,000 copies of this out to the world before Christmas. And it, mark my words, you can check in with me next year. We'll at least have 1 million copies by Christmas of 2024. And can I make a little announcement?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, your audience is the first to hear this. And I know you guys know this person and know of his brilliance, but he gave me permission to share this on the show today. You guys both know Nick and Ryan, you know Paul Cardall.
Yeah.
So for our audience members that are listening or watching right now, just give the audience 20 seconds on who is Paul Cardall and what does he do?
Ryan, will you do that?
Yeah, Paul Cardall, he teamed up with Richard Paul Evans and did the music for the Christmas Box House, and is a famous pianist and an amazing individual too, by the way.
Yeah, 21 best-selling albums, billions of downloads.
Dove Award winner.
Dove Award winner.
It's like the Grammys for Christian music.
Awesome. He just announced that in Christmas of 2024, you will be able to listen to a new album entitled Through Santa's Eyes. And I'm humbled.
You
and
heard
I'm
it here.
That the album Through Santa's Eyes will have songs that will reflect the stories in the book. And it's our hope to make that a live concert experience and travel the country and hopefully the world. And we'll continue to spread this message to be less selfish and be more elfish. And then obviously there's a movie in the works. That's where this title actually comes from. A friend of mine, Rob Diamond, back in 2000, we were at lunch. And he said, when I told him a couple of stories, he said, I see this as a movie. So in the back of my mind, it was always a movie. So I don't know who will direct it. I don't know which studio will do it, but it's in the works and it's going to happen. And it'll be a real movie, not one you watch on Hallmark.
It'll have a real story. You know, the beauty of all of this is we're talking 24 years ago, 25 years ago, how long this journey has been. Right, 1999 to today. It's not a short journey. It's taken a lot of persistence. It's taken a lot of grit. It's taken a lot of trust and surrender and vision and holding on to the vision even when you can't see how. And back in 2000 to talk about a movie, and here we are in 2024, and the movie's not yet produced. But that movie it's spoken into existence, even though it's not here yet. And the patience and the trust that it takes to stick with those dreams long enough for them to be fulfilled. This wouldn't have happened if you gave up anywhere along the way. And
I have to tell you, I don't think the cause of 2022 could have done this. I don't think the cause of 2015 could have done this. There were just certain things that have happened in my world in the last year or two that I've had a shift and understanding that have allowed the collaboration and all of the pieces to come together. Again, I was told in an idea that it would be impossible. There's no way to write a book and physically get it printed and have the success we're having. It would be impossible. Well, don't tell me and my partner at North Pole Publishing that something's impossible, because we'll go do it. And so this has been a crazy experience, but it's been one of the greatest manifestation experiences in my life, that things really are possible when you become the kind of person that can receive it. Because I'll admit, a few years ago, I even said out loud to one of my coaches, I suck at receiving. So in a way, I was pushing a lot of this back and away from me, because it's a process. I have to give, but I have to also receive from the universe. That's the great lesson here too, is all this is possible because for the first time in my life, I've really allowed myself to receive that which the universe was trying to bring into my world. I was always so focused on give that I blocked or damned my progress because I wasn't keeping that cycle going. And so the cause of a couple of years probably couldn't have this happen. And so it had to be a shift in my heart and in my soul to allow the collaboration of others, to allow others to come into my life with the resources to make this all possible. And I have to tell you, I always kind of believed in this stuff, right? When I worked with Brian Tracy back in the day and was a speaker and traveled the world and was on the platform. Okay, I believed it. It was theory. This, as goofy as this may seem to some people, dressed up like Santa Claus, write a book and lead a movement throughout the world. This is the greatest manifestation of everything I hoped was true. the collaboration, the resources, the people coming just out of the woodwork to help, the ability to find the right printers, the ability to find the right graphic designer for the guts of the book, my talents that I've acquired over the years to design the cover, and all those things that just came to fruition were at this time in this place for a special reason. But to your point, what you're both saying, it took 24 years. How many of us have the staying power, the persistence to stick with something for that long to actually see it come to fruition? Persistence is the measure of belief that you have in yourself. Let me say that again. Persistence is the measure of belief that you have in yourself. You see, it's easy to quit. It's easy to give up on your dreams. But if you're really persistent, that means you believe what's possible. And it may take weeks. It may take months. It may take years. And it's never easy. It's a journey that always begins with that first step. You never know. Just like when Thomas Edison said that he failed over 5,000 times to find the one invention to create the incandescent light bulb. He said he didn't fail 5,000 times. He said he successfully identified 5,000 ways that didn't work. What if he would have given up after 4,800 tries, 4,900 tries, 4,999 tries? Keep going. Keep trying. You might be right at that point that they call flashpoint. You know, when you start a fire and it's just kind of smoking, then all of a sudden, poof, and that flashpoint takes place. You could be so close, but you gotta keep trying. Just one more day, one more hour, one more minute. You are so close. Don't give up on your dreams.
Santa, can you do one thing for us, for our viewers? Can you tell them how being a giant is being more elfish?
Oh, absolutely. Because you recognize who you are and what you're capable of, and then you share it with the world. And it starts with you becoming that giant that you know you are. So awaken the giant within and then go share it with the world, because the world needs you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. Ryan, any final thoughts from you before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm grateful that that Santa enlisted the giants to be elves with him,
Absolutely.
not for him, with him, and we're learning as we travel down our giant journey is to be that. And I found as we've done that, as we give and as we serve and as we love, um, more than we can even handle comes right back to us. It's the craziest thing. It's not a one for one exchange.
No.
It's like a one for a million exchange. It's more than you can even handle. And I'm so grateful that we've been able to be enlisted in this with you.
Well, and
And
I would invite the listeners and the viewers today to go to throughsantaseyes.com, pick up a copy for yourself, join the movement. But then also, and I'm not saying this because, we're just trying to move books. We're trying to make a movement possible. We need to enlist as many people around the world to help as possible. This is the perfect gift for everybody on your list. This is the perfect gift for your employees and for your customers. People are not just getting one book, but they're getting boxes of this book so that they can gift and share the Be More Elfish movement in every aspect of their life. So join the revolution to be more elfish.
Join the revolution. I love it. We're going to revolutionize your heart. That's what we're going to do. So gift it, share it, live it. Go to throughsantaseyes.com and grab your copies of the book today and join the movement. And so as giants, let's support this cause and this cause, COZ, who we had on our show a while back. And if you want to go into his history a bit more, it's an incredible story. There is more to Santa's journey than you know. And so we are so grateful for you, for our viewers, for consistently supporting us and showing up the way that you show up, the comments, the sharing, we're grateful to you for being a part of our movement to create a world of giants, and being more elfish is going to help that. And so go make it a giant day. Go ahead.
I want to just take 1 second and thank both of you, because I know what it takes for you to do what you do. You're in the trenches every day, slugging it out to make Wake Up with Giant TV and your giant movement a movement too. So I would say to you, I love you, I care about you, and I'm behind every step you take as well to support what you're doing. And I know that I speak for your viewers and listeners as well. Thank you for what you do to be more elfish.
Thank you. That got me emotional. Thank you. And for everybody that's watching,
everyone.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. Say that one more time. I talked over you.
And Merry Christmas, everyone. And may 2024 be your very best year yet.